I'm going to be dissecting and analyzing the Rovectin Skin Essentials Aqua Soothing UV Protector SPF50 PA++++ for you all today. But before we get into it, I do have two important things that I need to say first. Number one, it's CERISE'S birthday today, so please, 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 I'll have socials linked down below. One easily clickable link up here. You could probably pop it open in the sidebar, whichever side it pops up on. Just please go send her some love, a smiley emoji, a fun colored heart, a picture of your pet. She loves pets. Yeah, just send her some sort of love in some sort of form, please. That would be absolutely amazing. If that's all you're gonna do for me today, then so be it. Thank you for getting this far, and please leave a nice comment on her stuff. If you're still here, second thing that we have to get through before we continue on is that this video is not sponsored. Made possible, even though we could have done it without them. This video came about thanks to Wishtrend. Wishtrend is a Korean skincare brand, and online with their website they do sell about a handful of other brands. Every once in a while when they come out with new products or new brands, there's a spot on individual products that say, hey, tell us why you want to try this product and we might pick you to try the product in exchange for a review. I have filled these things out numerous times because me and free stuff, I love free stuff, and the only sure way that you're not going to win is by not to fill it out. So I continue to fill these things out, try for like the Claire's blue screen sunscreen, try for like the whole fig line from I'm From, ended up buying that anyways, but never got anywhere. And then voila, today, thanks to Wishtrend for gifting this product to me in exchange for a review. Technically it just has to be one, and I'm probably going to post pictures on Instagram. I'm going to review it on their website and on YouTube, so any one of these could technically be the review in exchange for the product, or we could just treat them as they're all in exchange for the product. But to me, I'm going to tell you the exact same thing regardless. So really big point here is just this has been gifted to me. Thank you so much to Wishtrend. This is so fun, and I'm going to keep filling these things out because I love trying free stuff. So getting into it, let's start with the basics. So this is Rovectin Skin Essential Aqua Soothing UV Protector SPF50 PA++++. Three claims they have is it's an advanced formula, it's hyperallergenic, it's non-chemical filter. There's a couple of things that kind of bother me right off the bat, and it's the whole thing of hypoallergenic sunscreen, because zinc oxide for one can be very irritating to a lot of people. Maybe not an allergy necessary, but it can still be very irritating to people. Also, there's lavender in here, and lavender is a huge culprit of skin irritation. Again, not an allergy, but hypoallergenic makes it sound like it's very gentle, it's for everybody, when there are still basic ingredients in here that can cause irritations to people. So I don't like that claim, even though it could be true, because maybe it doesn't cause allergies, but it still can cause irritation and like reactions in terms of like contact dermatitis per se. So that kind of bothers me. You know, all products have the potential to irritate regardless of what's in them. So I have an issue with that regardless of who claims that. The next one is non-chemical filter. Just the wording of this. They could have just said pure mineral filter, 100% mineral filter, but instead went with a non-chemical, as it makes chemical filters sound bad. Or at least that's kind of how I take it. So I wish they would have just rephrased it and just called it a mineral sunscreen, just because it puts a negative connotation on chemical filters. And if we really want to get technical, mineral filters are still chemical compounds, but they're more organic versus inorganic. So they're still technically chemical filters, just not our standard of what we call a chemical filter. So that's my issues right off the bat. I still got other stuff to talk to you about, so let's not focus too much on it. So firstly, it is broad spectrum because of the zinc oxide in here. That is both good and bad, but the good part about that is that it gives you a UVB protection of SPF 50, and it gives you a UVA protection of at least PA 16+. So like an SPF of 16, but on UVA rays. So that's great. I'll get into why it's negative a little bit later, but let's talk about packaging. This came in a cardboard box. You get your lovely little package here. It's 50 milliliters, and then just a twist off cap, but on the inside when you open it the first time there is a metal flake film on top for security purposes. I will say, love the fact there's something in here that I can peel off to know that my product is brand new when I open it, because you don't really want people touching my stuff, and plus I know when air starts to oxidize any potential ingredients in here, so that's great. The thing I feel, this not just with this brand in particular, but in general with every other brand, if you're going to put a security sticker on here, just put your ingredients on the back of the bottle so you don't need to waste cardboard of having something you're going to have people take the product out of and discard of anyways. It just feels like excess waste. So that's one kind of downside I have to like any product that comes in a cardboard packaging. There's tons of room on here, you could have fit the ingredient list, but this is standard, it's typical, I'm not going to hold it against them, just something brands could think about to improve, you know, the environmentally friendliness of their products. Moving on to my favorite things, ingredients. Now, quick story, because I don't want to keep you here for 20 days because I do have like 5 pages of notes to go over. I dissected these ingredients so much. I had a whole list of stuff written out and I was so excited to film this video. And do you want to guess where my list of all my notes, like my original notes are? They're at work in my desk drawer, and I don't work weekends, so I was really upset because I had to kind of like re-go over everything. But I like dissecting ingredients, so it was kind of easy for me to redo it. It was just one of those like, ah, shucks kind of moments. So anyways, here we are. Let's talk about ingredients. Let's talk about the UV protection ingredients first. You have titanium dioxide, which is common. It's not broad spectrum. It's mainly a UVB protector, but then we also have zinc oxide, which is full spectrum. However, zinc oxide is not a very potent UV protector, so you need a lot of it in order to get like full protection, especially an SPF 50 plus protection of it. And it's not a bad thing. It just that zinc oxide has a tendency to give a white cast, and the more you need to concentrate your formula, the more potential you have for a white cast and a strong white cast. And as somebody who, I often joke that I am a tanned albino, I saw the white cast, and not just minimally, I looked pale. Like, if you didn't think I could be paler, this product begs to differ. So that's one thing I want to point out there, is that the white cast on this product is strong, its game is on point, there's no messing with that. It does also tend to get stuck in every little bitty hair. So like around your eyebrows, around your hairline, like even like the little hairs you have just randomly on your face. Kind of got a little bit in my nose, and it stuck to even like the cilia in my nose. So the white cast game on this is strong, and there is no way around it. Next ingredients I want to talk about, I'm going to take a note out of Kelly Driscoll's page, and it's just, I'm going to call them well-aging ingredients because I don't like the term anti-aging. I think it puts a negative stigma on the fact that we just all age and it happens. It makes it sound like it's not a natural thing and it's something that we should be ashamed of, which is not just the term itself, but the whole marketing around anti-aging. So let's call it well-aging. So we can do things to help our skin age healthily, and we can do things to damage our skin to cause it to age faster. So in terms of well-aging ingredients, we do have 3 main ones in here. We have niacinamide, adenosine, and we also have tocopherol, which is vitamin E, which is also an antioxidant. So the nice thing about having an antioxidant in here is that basically the sun can cause rays to come into your skin, causes free radical damage, which is oxidization. So if you have antioxidants, it can kind of help combat that. Don't think that they counter each other at all, because it really depends on how much of a concentration of antioxidants you have, how strong the damaging ingredient is, but it can help aid in the prevention of free radical damage. So that's great. Also, the niacinamide in here is also great as a brightening agent. So like if you have scarring, sometimes it can help with scarring. Sometimes it can also help with diminishing like the angriness of acne per se. Like it's a very beneficial ingredient. And also we have a healing component in here, which is Centella asiatica. It's actually known for its wound healing properties. It's very soothing, and it kind of makes sense why it's called the Aqua Soothing UV Protector, because it does have the soothing agent in there. But for somebody who burns, somebody who gets really irritated skin, it's really nice to have a soothing ingredient in your sunscreen because you're going out into the damaging rays. Let's talk about negative ingredients. Okay, for starters, there are 4 different silicones in here that I'm going to butcher names right now, starting with cyclomethicone, hydrogen dimethicone, polyglycerol-3, polydimethylsiloxyethyldimethicone, and C30-45 alkylceteryl dimethicone cross polymer. These are all silicones, and the reason I'm putting this under negative, because silicones See, now I'm falling into like the trap of that. Silicones aren't bad. The reason I put them under this negative side is because it does claim to be a hypoallergenic sunscreen when there are things like silicone allergies. To be clear though, a lot of silicone allergies, or what people think are silicone allergies by diagnosing it themselves, sometimes just tend to be severe hypersensitivity, which is just as annoying as a reaction, like an allergic reaction, but they're not the same thing. So that's where a lot of people tend to get away with being able to call hypoallergenic formulas when there's silicones in there, because a silicone allergy is not as common as people might think it actually is. However, it still is possible, and there are 4 silicone ingredients in here. Next, kind of on the idea of silicones, one thing silicones do is they kind of create that kind of barrier, that film on your skin, like a protective layer. For me personally, I have dehydrated skin, so I like it because it kind of makes that layer to seal hydration in so I don't get transepidermal water loss, which just dehydrates my skin more. However, silicones and some other ingredients in here have a tendency to be comedogenic, which basically means they can create comedones. They're comedogenic. So we have 4 of those in here, and that includes zinc oxide itself, which we have in a high concentration to get that SPF 50. We also have stearic acid, tocopherol vitamin E, which is the antioxidant, and the cyclomethicone. Those are your 4 biggest comedogenic ingredients in here. So that's another problem. Just because they are comedogenic though, I do want to just put it out there, doesn't mean they're going to clog your pores. Doesn't mean it's going to cause breakouts. It just means that for people who are very, I don't want to say sensitive, but are very prone to clogged pores, these are some ingredients you just want to be mindful about because they could cause you issues. Doesn't mean they will. Lastly, before we get into my favorite negative ingredient, there are a few fungal acne triggers in here. And again, fungal acne is something real. However, it's not as common as a lot of people kind of make it out to be. However, it is a thing and it does happen. These 3 ingredients include Echium plantagenum seed oil, stearic acid, and sunflower seed oil. So they do have a potential to trigger fungal acne in people who do suffer from that. My favorite negative ingredients, there's fragrance in here. Now, I do want to clarify, we have 3 different categories. We have ingredients with fragrance, we have ingredients with fragrant masking components to them as well, and then we also just have straight up fragrance ingredients. So, starting with ingredients that have fragrance components to them, but also have other benefits, would include trehalose, which is a humectant and a moisturizer. We also have octododecane, which is also an emollient, and then we have stearic acid, which is, oh, this one is actually a fragrance masking ingredient, but it's also an emulsifier and a surfactant. Also under fragrance masking, we have ethyl hexyl glycerin, which is also a preservative. But then, moving over into the pure fragrance category, we have tridecane and lavender oil. And this one just blew my mind. Like, why in a hypoallergenic skincare product, hypoallergenic product in general, would you frickin' put lavender? Lavender is like one of the most potentially irritating essential oils there is. Like on top 10, I do believe it's actually number 1. Like, I get that you want it to have like a nice subtle scent. It is the last ingredient on it, but that doesn't mean it's not going to irritate you, and it is enough to give it a fragrance. So like, this product does smell alright. Depends really who you are, it's personal preference, but you could have put chamomile in it. It would still give it a scent, but it has other beneficial ingredients or beneficial components to it, but it's not irritating to the skin. You could have made it smell like green tea. Again, beneficial ingredients, has a scent to it. But why lavender? The only thing lavender does, aside from give a smell, is give you that kind of mental relaxation of, oh, this has typically a calming effect on people. For your skin, does nothing. Take it out. Take it out. That's it. That's all I have to say. There is no reason for that to be in here. Alright, my camera overheated, so I did take the time to try and make my face a little less shiny. Another side effect of sunscreen. It happens. But we're back. If I look different, that's probably why. What were we getting into? Application. Alright, so this one I'm actually really excited to talk about because this one is, for the most part, positive. First off, I found it lightweight. When I put it on my skin, I need to clarify first, I do have normal skin that is severely dehydrated. I live in the plains of Canada, essentially, which is like grassy desert. So no humidity here unless it's like pouring rain and storming, but for the most part, no humidity. So for me, I actually found this really comfortable on the skin. It felt very lightweight. It felt like light moisturizing. So I absolutely love how this felt on my skin. I will say though, if you have acne skin, I would be a little bit careful because, you know, aside from the comedogenic ingredients, it does have things like sunflower oils, which can be a little heavy on oily skin. So I do think you might find this one a little bit heavy, but it's definitely a lot lighter weight than most American or Canadian sunscreen. So it's an improvement on typical standards that are found where you live, but it still could be a little heavy in terms of Korean sunscreen. If you have combination skin, I think some areas might enjoy this, some areas it might feel a little heavy. So it really depends how your skin reacts to like some oils in your products. If you have normal skin, like I said for myself, I found for the most part it was great. I did try it a couple of different ways, which I'll get to in a second. Whoop. But for people with dry skin, I do think you'll like this, but I highly suggest you still moisturize even though it does have moisturizing qualities. And that's what I want to get into now, is I did try it multiple ways. I tried it on bare skin, I tried it over top of a serum, I tried it on top of a lotion, and I tried it on top of a cream. And the ways I liked it best was putting it on top of a lotion. So very lightweight hydration, very lightweight moisturizing with this moisturizing and hydration sunscreen on top of it. That's how it worked best for me. So oily combination skin, if you try this, I would suggest trying it a couple of different ways, including on top of a serum and including on top of bare skin. If you have dry skin, I would 100% try it first with cream or lotion underneath before you try and get all fancy with just on top of serums or on bare skin. That's all I have to say about that. Or it does layer good for the most part. Now I say the most part because you can layer the sunscreen. I don't really wear a lot of makeup when I wear a lot of sunscreen, so I can't really speak to it on that. I have had people, or I've heard videos and people talk about it, how it's good as a first base and then when you put your makeup on top of it, it's good, but applying it as a second layer, like reapplication, wasn't as good to put on top of makeup. But those aren't my words, those are somebody else's. So definitely if you're into that, I would probably look at other reviews for some more information. But reapplying sunscreen on top of sunscreen or sunscreen on top of sunscreened oily skin, for the most part it felt okay. The white cast definitely got stronger, and the other thing I did notice is it felt kind of textury. Like you could feel the layers slowly kind of I don't know what I'm saying. It felt like you could feel the layers slowly starting to build up is what I was trying to get at. So it started feeling like there was something there, but it wasn't heavy, it wasn't irritating, it was just when you were massaging it on, you could definitely kind of feel something starting. So the more layers you put on, the more it became apparent that there was something on your skin, though it didn't feel heavy or like thick or anything at any point. It just slowly started feeling heavy. What else can we talk about? Oh yeah, the zinc oxide. Put it in big bold text. It just says zinc oxide. So the positive about zinc oxide is that it does have a mattifying effect. So as much as it can be comedogenic and not so great for people who are prone to comedones, it can also kind of mattify the area and control oil in some people. So it's funny how it can be conflicting, right? But I did find that for me, it did keep my oils at bay for the most part. Now I'm not somebody to typically get oily, but if I do, it'll usually be up here and on my nose, like in a T-zone area. And I found I had no problems with this throughout the day. Like it kept that under control, but it never felt like it dried out my skin as long as I put that lotion underneath. On the negative side, it shows every little hair on your face when because of the white cast, and the white cast just gets stronger with reapplication. So that's a negative side to this product. Fragrance alert. How did I describe this? I said this smells like typical sunscreen mixed with fresh ocean with the added sweetness of a soft floral, which is probably that lavender. It is a light to medium strength in my opinion. Like it's not like you open it up and you're like, oh hot damn, it's fragranted. You open it up and you're like, okay, there's a fragrance to this. So I didn't find it overwhelming, but it definitely was there. It was something that it felt like once it fully dried onto my skin, it did dissipate, but there was that lingering of it until it dried down. And then of course when you reapply it, you go through it all over again. So I don't like fragrance in my sunscreen, especially because the sun can be irritating as is. I'm putting this on my skin to protect it, so here's this fragrance ingredient which is an irritating property while I'm trying to protect my skin from being irritated by UV rays. So I wish it wasn't in there. If you're hypersensitive to fragrance, I would say avoid it, just because it is there and it is obvious even though it's not overwhelming. If you do like fragrance, try it, because like I said, it's a light to medium strength. It's not going to be overwhelming. You might enjoy the fragrance of it and might love it, but it is there, and I just want to make that known. I'm pretty sure my rant about lavender oil made it pretty obvious there's fragrance in here. Alright, before we get into my final thoughts about this product, we're going to talk about price. So what you get is 50 milliliters of product, which seems to kind of be the average range of what you would get for sunscreen. And it's about $40. I have a couple different websites. I had You'll Say, Wishtrend. I looked at Stylevana, but Stylevana didn't carry this exact one. They only carried the Deep Moisture, which is roughly the same price that this one was on every other website. And they also carry the Double Tone Up, which oddly enough was 10 American dollars cheaper than this one. So for the most part, it seems like it's the same price across the board, which in Canadian dollars averages about 40 without coupon codes. Now I will say, what is it, Stylevana and Yes Style are really good for coupon codes. I do have a reward coupon with them, which is 5% off your first order, 2% off of any subsequent order, and I think I get money into my account that I can redeem for products later on down the road, as long as I make $100 in those reward points to redeem it. It still does happen, just in case you do use that code down below. I do get something from it. Very small, but I do get it. I will have some coupon codes for other websites down below that have nothing to do with me. I have no idea what they get the person who benefits from that code. I just know I use them because I like saving money. I'm frugal. What can I say? But I'll list that down below just in case that you did want to try it. At least save yourself some dollars. Yeah, so $40, 50 milliliters, comparable in prices if you were to shop at luxury and drugstore, so like La Roche-Posay or Rovectin per se. That was not meant to rhyme, it happened. If you go to Sephora, it's comparable to brands like Clarins, Clinique, and Supergoop for their sunscreen. I'm a lover of Coola, or was a lover of Coola. I've heard some things about them lately that has kind of changed my opinion, but this is slightly cheaper than Coola if you know what their range in prices is. And when I say slightly, it's 4 Canadian dollars or $2.50, $3 American difference. So not much, literally just slightly cheaper. So on to my verdict. I like it, but here it goes. I like the way it feels on my skin. I like the way it sits on my skin. I do like how it is reapplyable. I do like how you can reapply it essentially with no issues. It does slowly kind of build up on you, but compared to other sunscreens that I've tried, this one so far has actually been the nicest feeling on my skin. So I do enjoy it that way. Negative wise, I won't go through it all over again. I do not like the fragrance in here. Leave it at that. I don't also like the wording on their packaging of the hypoallergenic and the non-chemical filter. I just feel in a world right now where greenwashing is a thing, where this whole natural is better when natural isn't always better, I do feel it adds to that kind of whole fear-mongering thing, and I just wish they would go about it differently. However, that's not as much as I wish that was different. I just want to make it known, but it doesn't really change my opinion on how I feel about this. I think the biggest deciding factor that's going to make me say I would not purchase this, just because for my budget right now, the price for what I'm getting, to me, I can't afford that. To me, I don't want to shell $40 on a product, even though it feels good, even though for the most part I like the ingredients. Like, for the most part I do enjoy this product. There's other products out there that you can get for roughly the same size, roughly the same, or not the same price, that you can get for roughly cheaper. Like, there all are alternative options, and where I am right now, it makes sense to go with those other options before this one. However, if money was no problem for me, I would probably have a bottle of this on hand while I search for that holy grail sunscreen. John hates this term. While I search for that, ride or die sunscreen. So if money wasn't a problem, by all means, I would probably just, like I said, have one of these on hand so I could find that perfect sunscreen, but this isn't my perfect sunscreen, so for the time being, I did put some alternatives on here. I have tried the Perito Unscented Centella Green Level Safe Sun SPF 50 Plus PA+++++. I do find they are different consistencies. I want to say that straight away. However, I did find for the most part there were similar results. It did make me a little bit more shiny, but I can fix that throughout the day, and quite honestly, I'm not someone who cares if my face looks shiny. We all have oil. It doesn't bother me. So, but that's my personal opinion. So, biggest difference is that one does make you more shiny than this one. They are also a chemical sunscreen, or inorganic chemical sunscreen. They are the new age ones though that are a lot better for your skin and less damaging on the environment, though I've heard conflicting reports about that as well. So, but in terms of what the public knows about sunscreen, because it's not highly talked about, those are some of the big differences between it. But the biggest selling point on that is that it's half price. That Perito one is $20 for me without discount code versus $40 without discount code. So if I have to put up with being shiny to save myself $20 every time, I'm gonna be shiny to save my $20. But like I said, if money wasn't a problem, I still would be frugal, probably because it's like embedded in me, but I would at least consider the other one. One I haven't tried yet is the Claire Soft Airy UV Essence. Again, SPF 50 PA++++. Just to let you know, PA with 4 pluses is the highest you can go. It does mean you get SPF 16 and higher in the UVA category. But the big thing with the Claire's one, it has fragrance like this one does. Can't tell you what it smells like, if it's very potent, if it's very lightweight. I've heard conflicting reports depending on who you are, but it is there. However, again, I've been told that this one is very comparable to this one, very comparable to the Perito Unscented Centella one as well, aside from the fragrance. And one that I want to try that I've been told is similar to these ones that doesn't have fragrance, or at least to my knowledge it doesn't, is the Keep Cool Soothe Bamboo Sun Essence. Again, SPF 50 plus, PA of 4 pluses, and this one is actually $2 cheaper. Oh, the Claire's one is $5 cheaper. We're talking Canadian dollars. So my ultimate verdict is I do like it. So if you are interested in it, I would say try it. You never know unless you try some things, and my verdict is if you're wanting to try it and you don't mind shilling the dollars for it, try it, because you're never going to know unless you do. However, if you're wanting to try this, money is tight, I would say hold off. There are other options out there that'll suit your budget right now, and then when money becomes, you know, a little bit more expendable, then maybe try it. It's definitely not one of those products I say you have to run out there and try it now. It's not a product I would say skip, so try it when the timing and money is right for you, but don't feel you have to. Does that make sense? It's enjoyable, but for me it's not worth the price at the moment. Yeah, so that's my verdict. I hope that helped. I hoped you loved my rant on lavender. Also, biggest thing you took out of here, or check Wishtrend if you do like the idea of potentially trying products in exchange for a review. Also, it's CERISE'S birthday. Send her love. That's the biggest thing you should have taken out of this. Thanks again to Wishtrend. And